We really have a misunderstanding of the nature of Ogun.
Their mind automatically goes to war, violence, anger.
The one who bathes themselves in blood.
Which can be true, but as we know, many things can be true at one time. How do we advance in society? And that's where Ogun comes in. Even the tools that need to clear the path, the tools needing to cultivate the land, as the physician, as the doctor, as the healer. He was very jovial as an agricultural daddy. Ogun does not like lazy people. Ogun is a true speaker. Ogun does not like liars. Ogun does not like thieves.
We tend to associate Ogun just with that masculine energy, and that was a real big mistake.
Now is a time when men have to earn that softness from us, and that's okay. Let them earn it. They need to earn it, and not take us for granted. And so, Ogun is that.
So there is the warrior side of Ogun, right?
Everything in life is balanced, so you have to have a balance of how you view things. War is not all bad. As a matter of fact, war is necessary when you're trying to achieve. If you're sending your Orisha on a battle to fight all of the time, that's what they're going to do. If you want your Orisha to go out and fight for you to have blessings, long life, prosperity, good relationship life, children, whatever, then those are the things that you need to spend your energy. I've never heard of any story of any Oduor that describes Ogun as a loser. Ogun will win it. There was a time when, women were told they couldn't do Ogun initiation.
Ogunye. Ogunmoye. Welcome to another episode of Voices of IWA. I am your host, Omisegun, and Voices of IWA is a podcast that focuses on uplifting the voices and amplifying the voices of women throughout the diaspora who are living our African traditional systems. This has been a very insightful season so far. This is season 2. And in season 2, we've been talking about the embodiment of the Orisha. So really moving from a space of just practicing our traditions and living them and ensuring that we are connected to the values and to the essence of the systems themselves and to the spirits and the energies that we uplift. So we've talked about a lot of things we had been setting up, right? We spent some time really setting up the conversations on embodiment and talking about Esheshe, talking about our Ori, talking about our ancestors and the importance of venerating our ancestors. We had our elder in the room who really came to talk to us about the importance of African traditional systems right now for us. And we've also, started to talk about the energy of the Orisha altogether. So last week we talked about Eshu, and this week we're going to be focusing on another energy. And I have inside the studio with me my sister and my friend. Oloye was actually on season 1, right? Yes. You were on the season with talking about Iami. And today we want to talk about the nature and the energy of Ogun.
Okay.
So how have you been doing? I mean, I know people heard your story a little bit, but just how have things been going for you?
Things have been going wonderful, actually. Yeah. Like I said, we were talking earlier, it's summer break.
Right.
So I'm getting a little bit of a break. I'm just now coming from Miami, so I got a little bit of the sun and the water, which was interesting because I'm not really a water girl, surprisingly. But this time it was different.
Yeah.
There's something different. And just being, it was so funny because the way I was, it was water, it was a lake there. And then there were all of these pine trees and the mariwo was everywhere. And I just felt Ogun in that space, even with the water being there. Just really, so I'm coming from a place of peace right now.
I love that. I love how the children be like, I love that for you. I really do. Because you work hard. Yeah. You do. You work hard. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about the energy of Ogun, right? Embodying the energy of Ogun. You have fully Ogunmoye, Ben. So in your book, if you don't have Iya's book, I don't think I fully said your name. I do that sometimes.
It's okay.
So introduce yourself to the people, Iya. So just in case somebody doesn't know who you are,
most
you should
people
tell them
know
who you
me
are.
As Osundamisi. Recently, Oloye, Erelu, Oshonoshopo. But I'm also Ogungbemi. It's
Yes.
also one of my names, Fafunmike. So many names.
Many names.
Many names. But today I'm Ogungbemi.
Yes.
That's who I'm representing.
Okay. And you in full representation mode. Yeah, I love that.
Yes.
I love that. Okay. So I was reading some more of your book. You have a suite of books that you have, left for those of us that are trying to, continue to build our knowledge. And one of your books is specifically on Ogun, right?
Yes.
And you talk about the nature. One of the things you go straight into is the nature of Ogun and how we really got it messed up, right? Like we really we really have a misunderstanding of the nature of Ogun. So let's talk a little bit about that misunderstood energy of Ogun and what the true nature of Ogun is.
I think when people initially hear Ogun, they automatically their mind automatically goes to war or violence or anger.
The one who bathes themselves in blood. That's the one.
All of the things, right? Which can be true. But as we know, many things can be true at one time, and those things don't encompass truly what or who Ogun is. I think what's most important to understand is just like when you even think about the Odu that Ogun was born under, Osundamisi, the seventh Odu. And when you look at if we want to look at the progression of things, because when Orisa are born under Odu, and I believe the Odu came before the Orisa from Oludumare, as we look at the Odu as the blueprint on how to live, how to build, how to survive, how to encounter or interact and encounter other human beings, nature, plants, animals, whatever. That is what the Odu gives us, the medicines to heal, etc. And so when you think about the beginning, the stories that we learn to be the beginnings of our culture, of our, of our universe. You look at Ejiogbe, when we talk about things manifesting, back to back, two in a single day, things like that. When we look at Iwori Meiji, just going forward, or Oyeku Meiji, if I want to go in order and think about things multiplying on earth. And then we go into Iwori Meiji and we're talking about how things are majestically manifesting, how other things are coming through like magic and so on and so on and so on. And then even getting to the phases of procreation or whatever you want to call it when you start looking at Odi Meiji and things like that. And then you come to the seventh Odu of Osundamisi and why Ogun and his birth and his presence is very important, because now that we have all of these things, even in Irosu Meiji, we're talking about the multiplication of children on earth and all of the children multiplying in the house. So now what? We have these things. And so when we get to Osundamisi, how do we advance in society? And that's where Ogun's birth comes in. And so when we talk about the nature of Ogun, the first thing that we have to understand is that Oludumare actually sanctioned Ogun or summoned Ogun to be the one, as we are establishing life, to come and help build or establish the things to make life go forward. When you think about one of Ogun's, one of his main tools or his main metals that he uses, iron. And, there was a time when iron was a precious metal. Everything is made, everything. You have aluminum, you have all these things now, but iron is the foundation. Right. You're talking about even the tools that needing to clear the path, the tools needing to cultivate the land, the farming tools, all of the things, that is who Ogun is. And, in spite of what people say about the anger, the frustration, the violence, Ogun is very a jovial deity, if you will. Ogun knows the importance of, we talk about Oshun, and what do you call it when somebody's getting pregnant? Oh my God, what's the C word? This is how menopause does it. Conception, that part. Like I've done it. I haven't conceived in a long time, right? But we talk about that, but nobody really talks about the surgical part of giving birth. Right. Ogun is there. Ogun is a physician. It brings life into the world also, because we life coming into the world. We think about Toshon. We think
Yeah.
about James. We think about all of these things. But you never hardly hear people have the conversation of how Ogun manifests life. Brings children in the world through surgical procedures, through the physician's hand. Ogun is the physician. Ogun is the medical man, the medicine man.
You know, when I was reading your book, one of the things you were talking about is how we tend to associate Ogun just with that masculine energy, and that was a real big mistake, right? You were talking about the nurturing side of the energy.
Yeah.
And I was wondering if you could expand on that some more, because again, you know, like you always think of like, right, the male energy, the roughness, right? And then when I read that, it almost really did soften me. And I was like, oh, right.
Yeah.
You know, like using the land, tilling the land. That's a part of feeding people, right? That is, right? That
Absolutely.
There is a nurturing energy that's there.
Absolutely.
That we don't talk about when we talk about Ogun.
Don't talk about it all. You know, Ogun there's several Egbe that belong to Ogun.
Right.
And most people, again, are going to automatically go to the hunter and some the military man or that
The
aspect
warrior.
of Ogun. Yes. But, you know, nobody really is going to venture off into Ogun as the physician, as the doctor, as the healer. You know, anyone that heals is a nurturer.
Yes.
Anyone that heals is, you know, a person or a spirit or entity that cares for others or that has some degree of concern for the enrichment of somebody else's life or enrichment for life or whatever. And so we have to look at Ogun in that way. Also, you know, in society, masculinity, femininity, you know, it is what it is. How, you know, and people always associate the feminine side with softness and the masculine side with toughness and hardness and whatever, when either can be hard or soft at any time. Sometimes as a woman, there's a part of you that has to harden up, that has to be tough to endure certain circumstances.
Childbirth alone.
You know, that alone.
Yeah.
And then there's also as a masculine or as a male, there are times when, you know, you have to soften up to be able to just have empathy for other human beings. And that is what Ogun is. Ogun can be either. You know, I don't like to put a feminine or a masculine label on Ogun, but Ogun is, what I can say is like I'm writing, I'm saying it's just a nurturing spirit. Ogun protects. Protection is a nurture.
Yes.
And cares for his worshipers and his students. So
I love the way you immediately ask people to get outside of their box, right? In the book, and to stretch your thinking and stretch your understanding and your perspective of the energy. So okay, let's talk a little bit about because there is the warrior side of Ogun, right? There is the side of strategy and defense. So that with that side, I want to kind of talk about the aspects of like war and because you went into that in the book also, like just even looking at the Yoruba people and why they went to war as much as they did, right? Why that energy was necessary. How my question is like, how for us here in the diaspora, how should we be utilizing that side of Ogun?
I think automatically I'm looking at social media or media now. And so DT declares war and everybody's upset because in people's mind, war is a bad thing because it's violent and we think about murders and people dying and all of those things.
Yeah.
But you have to also, everything in life is balanced. So you have to have a balance of how you view things. War is not all bad. As a matter of fact, war is necessary when you're trying to achieve, especially a bigger goal. War is necessary. War can look as simple as, can feel game-like, and it can be as serious as, you know, world war. You know, however, you know, war has its different levels of intensity. So, but it's always necessary when you're trying to achieve a goal, I think, no matter what it looks like or how it manifests. And so I think now in the diaspora, what we're experiencing, we have to invoke Ogun, because we can look at it from, I think sometimes we can look at it from a lens that we're only looking at DT. We're only focusing on him and his actions, but we also have to look at it from a worldly perspective. Is we also have to embody Ogun has to be embodied in this situation, because this is the energy that we need, because DT is not going to protect us.
Exactly.
We have to protect us.
Ourselves, right.
And,
right.
Even we have to protect those military men and women who are actually on the forefront, who are going to war on our behalf. So we actually have to live in the moment. It is what it is. And that's speaking of Ogun's energy, that's Ogun's energy.
Okay.
It is what it is. Whatever's going to be is going to be. Instead of trying to step outside of it, critique it, complain, cry about it, we have to live in this moment, and we have to invoke our Orisa, respectfully.
One of the things that always kind of, I don't know if it bothered me, but maybe bother is the right word. All right, so let's take a pause for a second, and I want to tell you a little bit about the Real Women Inspire app. This is something that was created for women who truly believe in our culture, in community, who are truly working on themselves and are ready to take their connections deeper. This is a space where we have opportunities for prayer, we have opportunities to learn, we have opportunities to grow, we have opportunities to connect to one another. And now we are opening up the space to other sisters to be a part of this very important ecosystem that we have created that's just for us, that's by us, for us. So if you feel like you are ready to connect with more women who are like you, who believe what you believe, who understand what you understand, and you want to take that connection deeper, then we want to invite you to go ahead and download the Real Women Inspire app. Join the ecosystem. Don't just look from the outside. Come and be a part of a very important movement that we're growing together. So let's get back to the episode. So when I think about war, my immediate thought is enemy, right? So if I'm going to war, then I'm going to war with my enemy. And then I'm thinking as a people, as a community, right? When we, sometimes if I will be you have enemies, you have enemies, you have enemies, right? And you'll have victory over your enemies. And us seeing each other as enemies, and this idea of even spiritual war and these types of things between people, right? I really want to dispel or how do we, I want that to stop, I think that there's bigger things that we have to, way bigger things that we have to worry about than somebody, some like you being my enemy, or my, somebody that I'm at a bembe with, or, in community with, being an enemy.
Yeah. It's interesting because I have this conversation all the time with my students, and especially when I'm divining. So it's so important because even this, people will look at this and look at something negative, or it's to fight. Actually, when the Ogun priest wears this, or Ogun wears this medicine that is included on this vest is to protect the environment. So if I walk into the room, I'm not coming in the room because I'm coming in with everybody in this room is my enemy, and I need to wear this armor to protect myself from these people. No, I'm coming in as the healer, the protector. I'm the representation of Ogun, and the medicine that is embedded in this vest is to protect all of us in this space. So this is not that, it's not that type of fight when you see Ogun in his armor. And so it's the same thing. We cannot control the number of enemies that we acquire, because sometimes enemies are not the way we believe them to be. So for example, an enemy is anybody that is in competition for something, what you're trying to achieve. Somebody just not liking you or disagreeing with you, that's not an enemy. Right. An enemy is somebody that you're trying to achieve something. You want this, this thing, this house, this money, this car. This person also wants it. That makes them your enemy. Not in a negative way all of the time. So an opponent, it's just, it's wordplay here. Yeah. So, when it comes down to Ogun, it's just like anyone that is in competition to achieve the same thing that you're achieving. And so sometimes Ogun protecting you is to help you achieve that thing, or to give you some type of advantage over that other person. that's life.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm.
life, because
Competition
competition
Mm-hmm.
is real. So either you want it or you're not,
Mm-hmm.
or you don't. And so I feel like one of the things that people need to understand is that, imagine if your grandmother, or you're sending your grandmother, your grandfather, you want them to go out, you're constantly sending them to go out to get grocery
Mm-hmm.
to feed you. It takes time
Mm-hmm.
and energy. They have to go and earn the money. They have to do all of these things so that they can put food on the table.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine asking them to stop doing those things and to go and hurt this person because I feel like I have an issue with this person. So now they have to stop and consume their time trying to fight a battle that is not necessary.
Right.
Or it's just useless, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so people need to, and Orisa like that. If you send in your Orisa on a battle to fight all of the time, that's what they're going to do. If you want your Orisa to go out and fight for you to have blessings, long life, prosperity, good relationship, life, children, what are those things that you pray for? Then those are the things that you need to spend your energy with your Orisa trying to manifest, not the negativity. Because they can't be in two places at one
the same time. Yeah.
And so people just got to make up their mind what are they going to use the Orisa for.
Yeah. I like what you said about the difference between like enemy and opponent. Because again, when I think of war, right, I think of annihilate, right? Like people in war, right? Like they are, like you said, like I do think of death, and I don't necessarily think of like friendly competition, right? And I have heard that people, like people come to the mat, they get a reading and they hear about enemies, and then they, there's all this fear around this person is throwing at me, this person is doing this person is doing that, and inciting the Orisa, like inciting a energy like Ogun or Eshu to go and fight people, right? It just seems like such a waste of energy. Now I totally get what you're saying in terms of like, competition. I think Ifa talks about that all the time, right? You're in competition with somebody, you want this particular contract, right? There's somebody else that's coming after that contract or whatnot. You're in competition. That's just different than this, whatever fear that we could have around like enemies that are trying to necessarily annihilate us. And I don't know, maybe there are people that do that. But I wish that in our communities, we can get to a space where we weren't using our Orisa against each other like that.
It's a waste of time because there are some real enemies out there. There's some real true enemies out there in society that we need to go to war against, but we spend a lot of time going to war against each other. Now, don't get me wrong, because I don't want to downplay Ogun's warrior energy either, because when it's necessary, it's necessary. I've never heard of any story of any Odu or any story that describes Ogun as a loser. Right. Ogun goes to war, Ogun will win it. And, and it can be bloody, it can be deadly, and that's fine. That's just what it is. Again, K Sarah Sarah. When it's time for that, it's time for that. And
there's a time and a place for it.
There's a time and a place for it. And so it's very... It can be very necessary at times. So Ogun doesn't have many faces, but Ogun has some, different aspects of Ogun. Even on the like Ogun, like I said, Ogun is one of those things where whatever it will be is almost like Ogun doesn't have a lot of time to waste. Ogun is just not the type of spirit that wants to be held down and just bound to a certain space or a certain energy or a certain, whatever. Ogun's like, what do you want so I can go? Let's do it and go. That's the energy. It's like, let's tell me what you want so I can go, and do what it has to do and go on to the next thing. And so that is why even on Ogun's shrine, there are things there that it's not just Ogun. There's other entities around Ogun's shrine. Because Ogun is just like, hey, it's time for you to die. It's time for you to die. Whatever. It's time. You're sick. You're sick. Maybe, do better. Whatever. It's Ogun's attitude, so to speak. But Eshu is there to give Ogun balance. That is why the Yangi is there, a part of there. Somewhere around, somewhere in the diaspora, some translation gets a little, crosses over one another. And that's why you have some people that give a set of warriors to their clients. They'll give Ogun and they'll give Eshu. They're not all the way wrong because Yangi, the Eshu stone, is a part of Ogun's shrine. Not necessarily in Yoruba land that those shrines are given separately like the way they do it in the diaspora, but it is what it is. But I'm saying that to say, you know, so that when the devotee comes to Ogun and say, you know, my roads are closed, this has happened, so that Ogun's going to say, well, maybe it's time to move on to something else. But Eshu is there to say, no, this person is coming to you, brother, for their roads to open. We have to do this. Let me help you. Let me assist you. You know, just for check and balances. Same thing with Oshoshi. Same thing with, even you have Osayin there for medicine to remind Ogun. If someone comes to you, they're crying, they're sick, you have to use your medicine to heal them. So all of these other Orisha that are there with Ogun, even the Osun staff, is because of the relationship that Ogun and Ifa have. And so he has all of these other entities surrounding that shrine to ensure that Ogun doesn't take the blow off road. And so
some balance.
It's a balance. It's a balance.
Let's talk about you know, Ogun is also known for like his work ethic, right? And his innovation in his work. So for people who are like looking to have discipline in their work, and people who are looking to, you know, be more innovative in their work, like they can also use Ogun's energy, you know, for that. Right?
Absolutely. Ogun is has very good, strong work ethic. Ogun does not like lazy people at all. So, you know, one of the things about being an Ogun worshiper is hard work. That's one of the attributes of an Ogun person. A person that worships Ogun followers. We're hard workers in every aspect. That's just a belief. You know how you're part of your Egbe, or you're part of a group or sororities or fraternity, whatever. Is a certain belief or certain principles that you have. Ogun's Egbe has that same setup, where there are certain principles, and hard work is almost like number one. Hard work is number one, I'll say. And so, you know, it's almost like the message is, no matter what you're doing, do your best. You know, put your best effort into it. Don't leave things half-cocked, half-done, unfinished, you know, poorly done. That's not Ogun's nature at all. So when Ogun works, the work is going to be like superior in nature. And that's the attitude you have to know, you know, have to have about what it is that you're doing. And Ogun's work is specific, but it's not limited. So you have, like I said, you have people think that it's only hunter and military men. Yeah, that's one aspect of Ogun, but it also has an egbe of barbers, you know. And when you think about, I keep going back to Oshun. We talk about Oshun as divine hair braider, but also Ogun's work is also the barber, the cutting of the hair, the shaping of the hair. When you think about and how barbering has evolved now, you know, like a haircut can be creative in so many ways, because a barber's hand is a spiritual thing. The barber's hand is a healing thing. And, you know, just the whole thing of when a person gets out of a barber chair, how they feel, how it changes their day, their outlook, and things like that. So all of that is Ogun's energy. The butcher, someone that, you know, cuts the meat. Again, that is an aspect. This is a very important aspect of our food intake. You have the farmers, of course, who's very important. Ogun is an agricultural deity. So even cultivating, farming is an art. So, you know, you start talking about all of these things, which is even the birthing process or delivering a baby. All of the things entails Ogun's work, or his type of work, and the art of Ogun. Nobody never sees Ogun as his artist. So it's so much that you can, you know, talk about as far as Ogun and the work ethic.
Yeah, we box, and we probably do this with all the Orisha on some level, right? Like we box them into our very limited understanding when there's a very vastness, right? And their energy is very vast.
Yes.
So yeah, for people who again, people in the diaspora that are wanting to utilize and embody um some of the energy of Ogun, what do you recommend? Like how could they embody that energy, whether they have the icon or not? Mm-hmm.
I think people the most important thing, and one of the things I include in the book, is just like how to communicate to appease Ogun. Appeasing Ogun, like Ogun is one of those deities that wouldn't mind if you come to him every day. Especially Ogun worships. Every day they will be at their Ogun shrine for some reason. But I think people need to, first of all, they need to pick up and adapt those attributes of Ogun, which are, again, like we said, hard work.
Yeah.
Also, just empathy and nurturing. Being able to find joy in like the most trivial times. Those are just personal ways, or ways a person can develop their character. You know, of course, being honest and truth speaking. Ogun is a truth speaker. Ogun does not like liars. Ogun does not like thieves. You know, Ogun is a deity of justice. And so just being fair in your delivery in certain situations. So all of those things are like the character attributes that people need to live up to be seen in Ogun's light. As far as how they can actually connect more to Ogun, I tell people, especially if they don't have Ogun shrine, I encourage people to collect metal. You know, I'm not telling anybody to make a makeshift shrine, but why not? But why not? You know, do what you want to do. But you know, if they want to just bring it to their own space, you know, collect some metal to begin with and invoke Ogun there. You know, or I always tell people, you know, and you can take anything to the junction and leave it there to be carried to any, you know, Orisa or any deity or any spirit. But mostly just knowing what Ogun likes, because Ogun is very particular. Ogun likes palm wine. Right. There's a story that tells, because people, you know, they know the Oriki, Onire, and they believe that Ogun is, you know, Ogun, of course, became the king of Ire town. Ogun also became the king of Ile-Ife. Ogun has become king in every town because Ogun would go out and fight these wars with these other, what do you call it, imperialists, wanted to take over different Yoruba towns, and would win and would come back winning. And so, you know, basically, in Saki, when he went to Ire town, or he went to war, he came back, he was very, you know, he really wanted palm wine to celebrate, you know, whatever, you know, victory he had won. And so there was a beautiful lady on the road, and I'm just kind of screwing up the story, just showing up a little bit. And she said, "Hey, I know where you can get some palm wine, your favorite drink." You know, Gun is, of course, is paying attention to this attractive lady, so of course he's gonna follow her there. And she took him to Ire town, is where he was able to get palm wine, plenty is everywhere. And so, you know, I'll speed the story up, but he wanted to marry the lady. She didn't want to marry him at first, and because, you know, he was needed in his town, and so his people didn't want him to leave and go off and marry this lady, and so on and so forth. But the point of it was that Ogun temporarily lived in Ire town because of the plentifulness of palm wine there. Emu. And so, you know, we can get that in the stores here, but I tell people, when you get it in the store, mix it with take some gin and mix it with it, because it's very little alcohol in it. Put a little alcohol in it. And so there's one thing you can give Ogun. Give Ogun, we always give the deities their favorite, so they can give us our favorites. So, you know, when you're praying to Ogun, I'm giving you your favorite. This is, you know, this palm wine or this emu, I'm giving this to you as your favorite. Now give me my favorites in life. Right now, my favorite is a new house, a baby, a husband, you know, whatever your favorites are at the time, you know, in exchange for an exchange. That's what it is. Ogun loves roasted yam, white African yam. Take it, cut it up in chunks, put some salt on it, pray. Again, give it to Ogun. I'm giving you your favorite. These are my favorite things right here. It's like an Oprah exchange, so you have to do that. So, just little ways. But like I said, just find, things that Ogun likes. Give Ogun the things that he likes. Ogun will give you the things that you like.
The thing that it feels like we keep coming back to, which is why we kind of set that, we set the pace for it when we started the season, was this idea around character, right? When you're approaching the Orisha, and having your character, intact and not going before them, knowing good and well, right? We were having the same conversation when we were talking about the EIME that time, right? Like you want to make sure you want to watch your character as you're approaching the Orisha. I'm thinking about a lot of people, like what people's prayers have been lately. And I'm recognizing that a lot of people have been praying for discipline, especially now, like the ability to be disciplined. And it's like a struggle. I mostly work with, I really don't work with a lot of men. I mostly work with women. And that seems to be like a struggle for them. And I'm always like, okay, well, Ogun is a good, right? That's a good energy to go to embrace discipline. But do you have any practical, like real practical solutions for people to in their walk with discipline, like as an Ogun person?
I think the best thing for people to do, remember I said Odu is like a blueprint.
Yes.
It's like a roadblock. It's a history book. Everything that we hear or see or read, with Odu has happened before from the beginning of time. This is our history book with all our examples of what to do in this situation, what not to do in this situation, and so on and so forth. So if people will keep those Odu messages, I'm giving you a very simple, easy way to discipline yourself. If you were to look at the last 3 readings that you have, the instructions are there, verbatim.
Yes.
Do this, don't do this. And when you continue to remind yourself the things that your divination, your Odu is telling you, that is one way. You just remind yourself. It's almost like you just keep listening. Just keep listening over and over and over to those verses, because those verses are going to tell you how to live. Those verses are going to tell you what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. You get what I'm saying? And it's not cookie cutter. There's Odu in Obaro Bokbe that says, there's message in Obaro Bokbe that tells a person when you go into a gathering, don't go early. Get there late. Et cetera, et cetera. And so we look at, a person arriving late as a negative thing or a bad character flaws. Yeah, if you're always late, I can see that. But if this is something that Odu is telling me to do, then I'm being obedient. I'm being disciplined. I'm doing this no matter, because I know that, okay, Omisegun is going to be angry because I'm showing up here late, but my Odu is telling me this. I can explain it to her or not. So if you just go ahead and live and pattern your life over what Odu says, and even from time to time, study Odus that are not yours. Just, everybody should just don't wait until you get initiated. Yeah. Start studying Odu now, because I'm telling you, it's the blueprint on how to live on earth.
I should have one more question. Yeah, that's kind of I'm thinking about. So I'm thinking about the energy of Ogun and the energy of Ogun being strong, and I'm thinking about women, right, who embody that strong energy, right, and the maybe how society may be like, oh, you need to not be so strong, but this is also the energy that you walk with, right? What kind of how do you balance that out? Like, what does that practically look like, right? When you're trying to, when you're yourself, right? And you're walking with this energy, this is the energy that you walk with, right? And you're also wanting to balance that out, because it's not like you're trying to be a man, right? Like that's not it, right? And like you said, it's not even that Ogun's energy is masculine or feminine, right? That's just what we do. I had an experience with the Orisha once, and they really did help me see how all of that is just us, right? Whatever, all that personification that we do, that's just us, right? That's not them.
Yeah.
But I was just wondering, what do you say, or what advice do you have for women that are going through that?
I'll go backwards because I'm going to start with physical strength. If you don't take care of your physical strength, which Ogun is all about having strength to really do your day-to-day task, whatever that is. If you don't have physical strength, if you're not strong physically, if you're not doing your exercise or you're not building your body in places where you can be strong, there are some things that you as a woman have to do for yourself that's going to require you to have some physical strength, even if it's just climbing out of bed. So you have to embody Ogun in that way, just taking care of your body, right? Eating the right things, all of those things. A woman has to have mental strength based on all of the things that we encounter. It's a different time. It's a different time. I don't know if everybody's picking up on it. It's a different time. If you look at everything that's going on, I'm not saying that we're 1000% in the clear. We're free. We're liberated from abuse, misogyny, and all of these things that come with sexual abuse, all these things that come with living in the world with men or women, whatever. But it takes a certain amount of mental strength to actually push through those things. Just having to do a lot of things for ourselves. We have become used to being self-providers. We have become used to being head of household. I don't think it's because we want to be. I don't think any woman wakes up and be like, well, I don't want a man. I want to do this all by myself. I want to bring in the grocery. I want to change the tires. I want to do all of these things. But we've been put in a situation where sometimes we have to step into those roles, even when you're married. There's some roles that you have to step into that, we wish men would step up to, but they don't. And so to even have to deal with that on a day-to-day basis, it requires a bit of mental strength. Because we have to be mentally strong to endure some of the things that we're faced with and to shield ourselves from abuses from other people. And so emotional strength is also another one. And so we have to be emotionally strong for our children and for the younger people who are looking up to us and looking for us for all these other strengths. We have to be emotionally strong for them. So unfortunately, we have to be tough. We have to have a tough interior. Doesn't mean that we don't have a soft inside and that we don't have a gentle inside. But men today have to learn that they have to earn that. I think that's where we are because it was a time when it was just naturally what we gave. But now is a time when men have to earn that softness from us, and that's okay. Let them earn it. They need to earn it, and not take us for granted. And so, Ogun is that. That is Ogun all day, to help us to, there was a time when, women were told they couldn't do Ogun initiation or they couldn't be Ogun worships. And here I am. I knew it wasn't true because when I go to get initiated to Oshun, Osundamisi comes and that's the first thing they tell me is that you also an Ogun woman. Oh, okay, fine. And so I went on my own path to get to where I am today. So it's just a lot of things.
So how do you balance that? Yeah, like that's the how do you balance, right? You have Oshun's energy and Ogun's energy, right? Like how do you feel like, do you even feel like you need to balance them?
No, because I feel like they complement each other. I feel like they complement each other because Oshun also has a lot of the attributes that Ogun has and vice versa. When you think
Oshun
about
is a warrior and right, absolutely.
Absolutely. I don't know. There's a certain softness about most Ogun women that I see that has to be tapped into. And it just takes a special person to do that. And that's how you balance it. Like, again, it's like, that's Ogun. Like, Ogun's not going to give you anything that you don't deserve.
That you don't earn. Right.
And that's just what it is. And so if you want to see me in that soft space, then earn it.
You got to work for it. Right.
It's just that simple.
You got to work for it.
But it's there. Yes. It's there. So I don't have to balance it. They complement each other. And that's just that on that. So let the spirit do what the spirit do. My spirit's going to respond to you. So if you pull that rough toughness side of me out, that's what you're going to get. If you want this sweet, gentle, you get that too. So it's all there.
I love that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, if you would not mind, this is the part where we we bless the people. And if you wouldn't mind invoking Ogun's energy, like I said, I know a lot of people are praying for discipline. A lot of people are praying. You have a lot of people now that are just anxious, right? All of this talk of war and all of this stuff that's happening in the world. There's just an anxiety, right? And I think like a courage that's necessary right now. That again, I believe, I know that that's that Ogun energy. So if you wouldn't mind blessing the listeners.
So I pray to Baba Ogun, Ogun Alakaye. I think that Ogun, I think the best thing is we call on Ogun right now to give us the mental strength that we need to endure all of the things that we're getting ready to face in society, things that have come, things that have not come yet. I pray that we have the discipline to walk through it.
Yes,
with our heads held up high. I pray for more love between us, especially us in the diaspora. I pray that men and women return to a place of just affection toward one another. I pray for all of us to feel loved by somebody, that nobody is isolated, nobody feels alone. During this time, I pray for all our men and women in our community to stand up, to be able to accomplish some real serious goals this year. Let 2025, 2026 be a year of major prosperity for us in diaspora. Let 25, 26 be a year that we are able to conquer all of our own inner demons, our own insecurities. Let us be a people who are proud of ourselves. Let us keep going forward and let us achieve some great achievements this year. Let those people who are on the cusp of elevating to the next level in their life, let them be able to accomplish that and let them have all of the resources that they need in order to do so. So I pray for all good things, all encompassing blessing for all of us, and let Ogun protect us from death, from sickness, from losses, from paralysis, from litigation, from accidents. Let us have the full protection of our Father.
Ogunye. I said, thank you, Iya.
No
Appreciate you so much. So if you do not have a copy of the book Ogun or any of Oloye's books, really, because I haven't read any that have not been fantastic. Usually very, I love the way you write in simple English.
Yes.
And sometimes people write from an academic lens, which is fine, but then you got to go and, read it again. Like your writing you're writing in English for people just to understand. Right?
Yeah, that's my whole goal. Yeah. That's my whole goal. Like I think the first Ogun book, I won't say it, but the red book, is somebody's dissertation. A lot of these books are people's dissertations, and it's coming. I'm a teacher, so obviously academia don't have a problem. I'm not beefing with the academy. However, I feel like for us, we need something more practical, easy, simple that we can understand. And so that's why, I write it that way, because I want everybody to have access to be spiritually independent. That's my thing. Spiritual independence is a thing. And that's what I advocate for. And so hopefully these books change somebody's trajectory so that they can, have an entry point where they can actually be a practitioner and not just a observer. So that's the point.
So there's a link to this book in the comments. Please like, comment, share. Thank you for watching Voices of IWA. We appreciate you for being here. If you're in the app, then we'll have a talk back specifically on Ogun. So go ahead and if you're not in the app, you can download the app and come and join us there. We appreciate you. Have a wonderful evening. We will see you next week.
Thank you for having me, Odabo.
Yes, yeah.